Welcome to the webinar. This is Chiawei from Adlink. I'm glad to be here to share how does AI technology, IoT technology, as well as private 5G affect the smart manufacturing segment to be more powerful with the digital twins technology. So we could like to understand by the time to time, we understand from the embedded to the edge. They just features the very famous and very powerful the connectivity, the technology, which includes the field bus, we call the IT protocol, as well as some connectivity to the cloud. However, if we back to the edge devices, we may understand how to add the more the computing power to execute the more complete the task. But it's not the endless for the smart manufacturing market. So the next step will be the autonomy. Considering if you are not work alone, if you can work your friend, your colleague, automatically. So the whole group can host the difficult, complex the mission at the same time. So for us, there will be the autonomy and also the strong autonomy. There will be a step-by-step to empower the entire smart manufacturing as a more advanced. But if you look at just out of a factory, there's a more and more interesting things is happening. For example, like the autonomous vehicle. For example, like the metaverse, there will be the hot topic in the market so far. So everything will be regarding to the cyber physical, the digital twin. But without the useful, powerful the data to do the simulation, so you cannot even touch the cyber physical system. So without the time determines the connectivity, so you cannot share the data, message, and maybe a result to your neighborhood. So let's just take a look at the smart manufacturing specifically. So I could like to share with you the 3 key successful factors. The first one, I will say the field. The flight field can bring the more experience from the field side. It can be not only to enhance the production process, but also to identify or define the right edge the devices for a better world. So for us, the field, domain know-how, as well as the metadata, they will be the 3 key successful factors to impact the success of a smart manufacturing. With more than 3 years experience, I'm glad to share with you because most of the factory owners right now are considering what could be the right topic, what could be the right technology they can bring to enhance the operation efficiency, can lower the yield rate, can increase the productivity. So the 5 topics includes like the AI vision, the AMR, as well as the 2 the classic the IoT applications. And last but not least, will be like the how to leverage like the AR camera to do the training or repair the mission. Having said that, so you may understand the factory is used to utilizing the AOI equipment to ensure the production quality on the different objects, no matter your mobile, no matter your laptop, or even like the food and beverage. But in the past 3 years, the factory owner is considering, actually, there are 100 or 1,000 cameras already been deployed in the factory. So that's where we can leverage the existing camera system or NVR system, but just empower some AI capability to match the image or the video into the digits. To convert them from the analog signal, the image, to the useful data. Then you can do the more and more analytic and calculate what's the operation, what's the taking time, what's the cycle time, or whether they just step in some hazard zone. So you can ensure the more safety along with not only a human being, but also the entire process. So with a bunch of the cases, we just engage with the customer and the system integrator partner. So I could like to share with you some of the interesting cases. So for example, in your left-hand side, you may see the one thing is the people utilizing the AI camera to ensure the safety in the construction area. And also, they just leverage the AI camera to counting the people and also to identify the gender because they can calculate which the model or the goods will be earn more money. In your left-hand side, you also see that with more and more autonomous vehicle spec in into the factory, so you may need some automated alert system to avoid any correction with a human being. In your right-hand side, you can see, for example, like the food and beverage, the chicken wing, the tire, and more agriculture who just leverage the AI vision to detect the defect, which is quite difficult to do in the past. Let's two classic application for a traditional AOI. For example, like a measurement, like identification by scanning the code. But it's not good enough because considering the chart or the number on your t-shirt, it's quite difficult to identify or convert into the digits. So you may not only the traditional machine vision software, but also more and more the specific AI model. So I just bring with you a very interesting cases. You know, people just utilizing the AI camera with a specific AI model. Then he can design whether this fruit, the oil fruit, just strip or not. So with a no-code or a local environment, you do not even think about what kind of data scientist or a software engineer you need to hire. No, you just need to leverage your in-house the system integrator engineering team with this no-code local environment. Then you can design the entire the AI vision application. From now on, there's a second case, as I mentioned earlier. So it's not only to ensure the operation efficiency, but also they can ensure the safety for not only the your employee, but also the contractor. So it's a very typical the cases here is the semiconductor foundry hire a contractor to refine the chemical the ingredient. So how to design where the operator, the contractor, wear the suitable the safety suit, where the truck parking in the right place. So by leverage the AI model, the AI camera, so our customer just accomplish this mission easily. Now, for instance, we just established the geofencing system in our own factory. So you may be able to see the video on screen. So with the geofencing technology, so we can identify where the operator will the suitable graph, and to prevent any high power damage for the human body. As I mentioned earlier, no-code, local environment now is a famous tool chain for the AI application. It's not only beyond the Python script. Of course, we can integrate with the Python script. Don't get me wrong, okay? But we can utilize this no-code, local, the IDE environment to accomplish the entire AI application in 4 steps. The first one, can capture the image with the punch of the cameras, which includes like the IP cam, industrial camera, RTSP, or even the streaming from another server. The second thing will be how to do the image preprocessing, because considering your edge devices may get limited the computing power to do the analytic things. So it will be very, very powerful to help you to save the money and the computing power in the third step. The third is the most important step. It's doing the inference. So by hosting the 2 major inference engine, the OpenMINO powered by Intel, the TensorRT powered by NVIDIA. And not even mention, right now we can host the Onyx, the runtime and the model powered by Microsoft. There will be 3 major AI inference you can manipulate with your specific AI model. The last but not least is, of course, you have to streaming out your result with the right analytic inference engine. But beyond not only a tool chain, so with 18 months experience by working with our system integrator partner as well as end user, we understand and also identify the 80% of the common interest from the factory. For example, the geofencing, to ensure the safety around the factory. So he can be designed to ensure the safety around the robot arm. He can be designed to avoid any undeterministic object into the hazard zone. Also, you may understand, for example, like I mentioned before, like the chemical check, will be not only regarding to the hazard zone or the geofencing, but also he can be designed the right posture to do the right things, also to detect whether they wear the suitable suit. In the right-hand corner, you will see there's another typical cases the factory owner loves. It can calculate the cycle time for the specific procedure by assembly or even just the assembly of some object with goods. So, but still have a challenge for the AI vision, because you can find the punch of the AI model which created by the freelancer on the open source. So you may understand it may be not all workable with our offering, but the good thing is that we identify more than 20 the applicable AI model here, and also by leveraging the Nomad AWS or the Microsoft Azure service, so you can do the labeling, then generate the suitable AI model, then deploy onto our EVA devices. But beyond that, it's not good enough to help you to kick off your POC project. Before you identify the return of investment, we understand you need a certain evidence from the AV POC project. So how to shorten the period to deal with the POC project? That's our offering. We got a fast AI Vision POC kit, which is not only including the local environment, software environment, but also we do have the AI smart camera, which already integrate the right sensor, the right computing power, the right I/O, as well as the connectivity in the physical. Not even mentioned, we do have the punch of the sample code or the template. So you can just change the input source or even just change the inference, the engine. The second thing is AMR. So considering if you need your devices with more mobility and can shift the goods from A to B dynamically as well as automatically. So beyond the traditional AGV, the system, so AMR system can just help you to avoid any correction with a different obstacle. And also, they can be worked together by controlling with the fleet management system. And also, they can share the message or the result or even the data to their neighborhood. That's a fantastic system here. So considering if out of a factory, the people talk about the autonomous vehicle. The indoor, we say it's AMR. So that's a very typical cases that we already found and deploy in a AUO, the factory. So it's not only to cooperate with each other with a different AMR system, but also to cooperate with traditional the AGV system, and also streaming the data, the result, fleet management system, as well as a CRM system. So with a powerful and comprehensive ecosystem partner, so with our controller, you can build up the different kind of the AMR, the type of AMR, which includes like the Faroba, which we just got a joint venture with Foxconn, and also the AUO, our biggest the stakeholder. So last but not least, is still regarding to the IoT. With a bunch of the sensing system as well as a gateway system, so right now the factory can be able to say they may have some digital twin for their factory. But considering the penetration rate is still low, the share is still low. So that's why the factory owners still chasing the more and more powerful the IoT devices to extract data from legacy machine or to extract data from a machine without the controller. So having said that, you may be able to identify like the pump, the different kind of pump operating in your factory for like the air compressor, the dry bond, and for the semiconductor. So it's quite difficult to get what's a healthy or the operation status from lost equipment without a controller. So that's why Adlink provides very unique devices, which is able to extract the data from both the PC-based equipment as well as the PLC-based equipment. Of course, thanks for the AUO Defect, we do have a very tightly synergy to develop this data price system, which is a PLC gateway without any coding. So with the PC or the PLC based the data extractor, the gateway, so you don't need to even think about how to programming with it, because the old environment still local environment. You just need to configure what you want, what parameter you want, then you can get what you want. You may be surprised. Actually, this kind of data extraction devices can be empowered as like the factory Uber to call the AMR dynamically, randomly to dispatch the different magazine or object to anywhere. So with this DAS Hangjin, the intelligent gateway system, so you can convert or upgrade your unconnected equipment with the connectivity from now on. Okay. So having said that, there may be a bunch of equipment without a controller, without a PC, without a PLC. So how to get the healthier status from them? There's the only way to deploy the punch and the comprehensive environmental sensors. But how to acquire the data from those sensors? And considering the limited space in the existing equipment, so tiny, powerful, with some activity capability and connectivity, they will be the one of the key factor the user or the system integrator now is looking for. So I'm great to introduce the machine condition monitoring series here. So with the type of the connection, the sensor connection type, so you can select what you want from our catalog. And one of the things here is that we do have a very successful the cases in the semiconductor. So users just utilizing this the MCM series and to save more than 500K per year by alert any anomaly for the airdrop system or compressor system in advance. So last but not least is without those powerful ecosystem partner, so we cannot accomplish the mission alone. So it's not only relating to the AMR, but also the AI vision, as well as the predictive maintenance, the PHM system, and also the IoT, the connectivity. So thanks for the AUO again. So we do have a very strongly, tightly the synergy with AUO, DIGITIMES, AUO, as well as the EdgeTech. So if you need the further information regarding to not only the solution, product, or even the service, or even our ecosystem partner, you can just reach out Adlink, the channel partner, or sales team, or you can even mail to me directly. So it's my presentation today. Hopefully, it can trigger some insight for your future business. Thank you.